Be still. The moment you quiet the noise of the outer world, the inner world begins to speak. You do not need to chase anything, for what you seek is already seeking you. All things are drawn to their source, and you are the source of your own experience. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world outside you is only the shadow of your inner state. It is a reflection, not a reality of its own. Your job is not to manipulate the shadows, but to enter into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you dwell in the feeling, the reflection must change. It is law. Relax, nothing real is missing. You do not have to beg, strive, or worry. The more you strive, the more you affirm its absence. But when you relax, you claim it as already yours. Everything responds to the energy of assumption. Assume that it is done and it will be, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You are the operant power. What you imagine and persist in must become fact. So persist in the feeling that all is well, that what you desire is already here. Let the outer world say what it will. Let time pass as it may. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is your inner conviction. Live from the end. Sleep tonight as the one who already has what they once longed for. Walk through your day with the gentle assurance that it is done. Do not try to make it happen. Allow it. That is the greatest secret. In stillness, you create. In rest, you receive. When you change your state, the world rearranges itself effortlessly. People, circumstances, and events move around you like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. They are not coming to you because of luck. They are responding to your inner reality. And so you relax, you trust, you dwell in the unseen, and the seen will follow. The outer world is not the cause of your experiences, it is the result. Every condition you face, every person you meet, every circumstance that unfolds in your life is mirroring something within you. It is not an accident, nor is it imposed upon you by some external power. It is simply the reflection of the state of consciousness you occupy. When you understand this truth, you stop reacting to the outer world and begin responding from within. There is no power outside of you that can create or destroy your life's path. The real power lies in your awareness, your ability to imagine, to feel, and to believe in what is not yet seen. The world reflects not what you want, but who you are. And who you are is not defined by your name, your job, or your circumstances. Who you are is the state of consciousness you dwell in. That is your true identity. That is what shapes your entire experience. When you believe in lack, you will see evidence of lack. When you believe in love, you will find it everywhere. When you feel abundant, opportunities flow to you without effort. But when you hold on to fear, doubt, or resentment, the world will echo those feelings back to you. It is not punishing you. It is simply showing you where your attention has been dwelling. This is why it is useless to try to change things out there before you have changed in here. You may move to another city, change jobs, or end a relationship, but if you remain in the same state of being, you will simply recreate the same pattern in a new form. The external world is plastic to the mold of your inner convictions. It must conform to what you deeply assume to be true. Therefore, if you want something to change in your life, do not look outward. The outer is merely the echo, the inner is the voice. You are the source of your experience, whether you acknowledge it or not. And the most empowering truth is this: you can choose a new state at any moment. You can stop identifying with fear, with lack, with victimhood, and choose to occupy a new state, a state of peace, love, wholeness, and abundance. And when you do, the world around you will begin to shift in response. This change is not always instant in appearance, but it is instant in substance. The moment you shift internally, the seed is planted, and the seed knows how to grow. It does not need your constant worry or effort. It only needs your persistence in the new state. The world will take care of the rest. Events will unfold, people will appear, doors will open, not because you chased them, but because you assumed their presence and remained faithful to that inner knowing. This is why you must be conscious of what you dwell on mentally, the thoughts you repeat, the emotions you entertain, the assumptions you carry. They are all creative acts. You are not merely observing the world, you are projecting it. Your inner conversations are shaping your outer interactions. Your self-talk is scripting your life. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, overlooked, or unsupported, you will find that life agrees with you. But if you choose to speak differently, to feel differently, even if your senses tell you otherwise, you will begin to shift your world. The world is like a mirror with a slight delay. What you see is not always the instant result of your most recent thought, but the reflection of the state you have occupied consistently. That's why it may feel like nothing is happening when you change your inner world. But rest assured, everything is happening. The old reflection is fading and the new one is forming. Stay faithful to your chosen state and allow the reflection to catch up. Your outer world cannot resist the inner conviction you hold. It must yield, it must bend. That is the nature of creation. The moment you recognize yourself as the cause of your life, you stop giving away your power to conditions, people, and circumstances. You begin to live deliberately. You begin to imagine intentionally. You begin to feel on purpose. And when you do, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. You don't fight for change, you embody it. You don't chase results, you align with them. You don't plead for miracles, you live as if the miracle has already occurred. And in that state of being, the outer world has no choice but to conform. You are not a victim of life's events. You are the creator of them. The sooner you accept this, the freer you become. For if the world is a reflection, then you can always change the image by changing the one who stands before the mirror. You do not need to wait for the world to agree with your desire before you feel it to be true. You only need to believe it inwardly and the world will follow suit. Everything begins within. Your awareness of being is the root from which all else grows. When you declare I am, whatever follows becomes your experience. If you say I am tired, you affirm tiredness. If you say I am successful, you align with success. These are not just words, they are creative forces. Your I am is the center of your world, and what you attach to it becomes your lived reality. Therefore, be mindful of what you claim to be. Be mindful of what you assume. The outer world is listening to your inner declarations, whether whispered or unspoken. It does not judge them as right or wrong, good or bad. It simply reflects them as fact. When you understand this, you begin to relax. You no longer chase after results or try to force life into shape. You begin to rest in the knowing that what you assume within must take form without. You trust the process, you nurture the feeling, you persist in the assumption. And the mirror of life begins to reflect back to you a world that matches your inner certainty. You are the light behind the image, not the image itself. You are the cause, not the effect, and the world, ever faithful, reflects you back to yourself again and again. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live inwardly in the reality of your desire before it has made its appearance in the outer world. This is not a matter of pretending, hoping, or waiting. It is the deliberate act of embodying a new state of consciousness, one in which the thing you desire is already yours. You do not try to get something, you become the one who already has it. This simple, profound shift changes everything. Most people are taught to react to the world of facts. They see something, then feel something. They wait for results before allowing themselves to feel satisfied, happy, confident, or secure. But creation does not begin with facts, it begins with feelings. The outer world is only a delayed reflection of your inner world. So to create new facts, you must first create new feelings. You must begin to feel now what you would feel then. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about living in the state where your desire is already true. If you long for love, then you must assume the feeling of being loved now. If you want success, then dwell in the feeling of already being successful. If you seek peace, then embody peace, regardless of chaos around you. The external conditions may contradict your assumption at first, but they are powerless against sustained inner conviction. The secret is in the feeling, not the words you say, not the affirmations you repeat out of desperation, but the feeling you accept as real within yourself. The universe does not respond to begging or pleading. it responds to belief. When you feel something deeply and consistently, you impress it upon the deeper mind, and from there, it takes shape in the physical world. It has no choice. It must. This is why imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. Not imagination used for fantasy or escape, but imagination directed toward embodiment. When you imagine the scene that would be true if your desire were already fulfilled, and you feel the truth of it, you are creating a new reality. You are stepping into a parallel version of yourself, and by assuming that version, you invite its reflection into your life. Assumption is not passive, it is creative. It is the act of claiming something inwardly before it appears outwardly. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to accept that it already exists, even if the senses deny it. The senses are limited, they report only what has been, but your awareness, your feeling consciousness, is not bound by the past. It is the doorway to the unseen, the yet to be expressed. And when you enter into the feeling of the fulfilled wish, you open that door wide. You must become familiar with the feeling of already having. How would you move if your dream were real? How would you speak, breathe, carry yourself? What would you no longer worry about? What thoughts would no longer haunt you? Begin now to think, feel, and live from that place. Not toward it, but from it. That is the key. People often ask, how can I feel something I don't yet have? But that question reveals the misunderstanding. You feel it into being. The outer world follows the inner world, not the other way around. You are not waiting for something to happen to feel good. You are feeling good as the cause of it happening. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, nothing can be brought into form. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must quiet the noise of the senses. You must stop looking to the world to confirm your new state. It won't, not at first. You must become blind to appearances and loyal to your inner vision. This loyalty is not always easy, but it is essential. When the world contradicts your desire, you must remember that the world is only echoing your previous assumption. Do not return to the old state, stay in the new. Persist. It is in persistence that transformation occurs, not through effort or strain, but through steadiness. Each time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are impressing that state deeper into your subconscious. Eventually, it becomes your natural dwelling place. You no longer have to force it, you are it. And when that happens, the world responds in kind. It begins to rearrange itself to reflect the new you. This is not magic, it is law. What you feel to be true inwardly will express itself outwardly, provided you do not disturb it with doubt. The moment you accept your desire as already accomplished, the machinery of the unseen goes to work. You may not know how or when or through whom it will come, but you do not need to. Your job is not to figure out the means. Your job is to remain in the end. Live as if. Walk as if, sleep as if, speak as if. Speak as if. That is the way of conscious creation. You do not need to explain your inner knowing to anyone. You do not need validation from the outside world. You are not seeking confirmation, you are giving it. You are saying to yourself, it is done. And you are allowing that inner certainty to radiate through every part of your being. Doubt may arise, but do not entertain it. Return to the feeling. Return to the scene, return to the end. If you fall out of the state, gently bring yourself back. This is not a matter of perfection, it is a matter of persistence. Each time you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, you are shifting your identity. And when identity changes, life follows. You must become the version of you who already has what you desire. Not one day, not soon, now. For now is the only creative moment. The future is only a projection of your present state. So assume the feeling now. Let it flood your senses. Let it guide your thoughts. Let it shape your behavior. And most importantly, let it be enough. Even before anything changes on the outside. That is the test and that is the power. When you no longer need the world to show you results in order to feel fulfilled, you have mastered the art. And ironically, that is when results show up quickly, effortlessly, naturally. because the world cannot resist a mind that is already convinced. It must reflect what you are. So be what you seek. Feel it real. Assume it now. The present moment is the only time that truly exists. It is the point of power, the gateway to change, the space where all transformation begins. When you realize this, you no longer wait for something to happen in the future. You no longer postpone your peace, your joy, or your fulfillment. You stop saying one day and begin saying now, because now is the moment where you meet yourself. Now is the moment where you meet your imagination. Now is the moment where your wish can be fulfilled. So many live in the illusion of time. They believe that life is a sequence of events and that their happiness lies somewhere ahead, just out of reach. They think they must wait for conditions to change before they can change. But this is the greatest trap of all. The outer world is only a shadow. It is a mirror of what is already accepted within. And mirrors do not create, they reflect. That is why the present is so powerful. It is the moment where you can stop reacting and start creating. You are not bound by your past unless you carry it with you. You are not imprisoned by future fears unless you imagine them into being. Right now, in this moment, you are free. Free to imagine something new, free to choose a new thought, free to enter a new feeling. And the moment you do, you are planting a seed. The outer world may not change instantly, but the inner shift has already happened. And that shift is the cause. All else is effect. The mind left unchecked will always pull you out of the present. It will replay old wounds or project anxious futures. But neither the past nor the future hold any real power. Only the present does. And when you claim it, when you rest fully in it, when you feel the stillness of now, you realize that you already have access to everything. You do not need to chase. You only need to align. Imagination lives in the present. Feeling lives in the present. The state of the wish fulfilled can only be experienced now. You cannot feel it tomorrow. You cannot wait until conditions improve. You must choose to feel it here, in this very breath, in this very beat of your heart. That is the art. To dwell in the end, even when the beginning appears unchanged. What happens when you fully inhabit the present is a kind of awakening. You begin to notice that everything is alive with meaning. The moment becomes rich. Time slows. The tension dissolves. You stop fighting what is and begin to work with it. You become conscious. And in that consciousness, the door opens to infinite realities. You are no longer a victim of your life. You are the author. You are the dreamer. You are the one shaping what comes next. This does not mean you ignore the world around you. It means you stop being controlled by it. You start responding from a place of deep inner stillness instead of reacting from fear or habit. You become the calm in the storm, the eye of the hurricane, the silent observer who knows the truth beneath appearances. And from that place you can direct your attention toward what you choose to experience. Attention is your treasure. What you give it to grows. What you withdraw it from withers. So choose wisely where you place it. If you place it in the future, hoping for something to save you, you will always feel lack. If you place it in the past, trying to fix what has already happened, you will always feel regret. But if you bring it to now, this breath, this moment, this feeling, you reclaim your power. In the present, you can revise your inner world. You can imagine again. You can feel a new truth. You can decide who you are and live from that decision. That is what it means to create consciously. You are not waiting. You are not hoping. You are choosing. And your choice, when made with conviction and persistence, reshapes reality. The world will catch up to your inner shift, but that is not your concern. Your task is to remain loyal to the now. Each time your mind wanders into fear or doubt, bring it back. Each time you find yourself looking outside for evidence, return to the inner knowing. That is the practice, that is the discipline, and that is where miracles begin. Nothing stands between you and your desire except the belief that you must wait. But waiting is a state. It is a posture of lack. And what you assume as your state of being determines what you attract. So stop waiting, begin being. Feel it now, live from it now. The moment you choose to embody the state of the wish fulfilled, you stop time. You collapse the distance between now and then. You step into the version of you who already has. You are always becoming what you are conscious of being. This is the great mystery of life, that you do not attract what you want, but what you are aware of already having. The moment you identify yourself with a state, the world begins to move in response to that inner assumption. It's not magic or coincidence, it's law. Consciousness is the only reality, and whatever you are conscious of being or having, whether you speak it or not, whether others know it or not, begins to clothe itself in form. This means that your reality is not created from effort or from struggle, but from awareness. If you are aware that you are loved, even before the evidence appears, then love must come. If you are aware that you are successful, even before the world calls you that, then success must unfold. It must, because consciousness is not passive, it is creative. It expresses itself through everything you think, feel, imagine, and accept as true. There is nothing outside of your awareness. Everything you experience, every conversation, every coincidence, every encounter, is only reflecting back to you your state of being. It's like a mirror that cannot lie. So if you want to change what you see, you must change the one who is looking. You must change the state you live from. You must begin to inhabit the inner experience of the life you desire. This is not about pretending, it is about knowing. Knowing in the stillness of your heart that the thing you desire is already yours. Knowing it with such calm certainty that you no longer need proof. You no longer chase it or question it or beg for it. You rest in the awareness that you already are it. And when you rest there long enough, the outer must conform. There's a silent power in identifying yourself with the end. If you feel rich, you won't worry about money. If you feel healthy, you won't obsess over symptoms. If you feel chosen, you won't seek validation. This inner feeling becomes the cause of outer facts. You may not see the shift instantly, but the moment you claim a new identity in consciousness, the transformation begins. Life will rearrange itself to mirror that claim. Your only true responsibility is to remain loyal to your inner state, even when the world contradicts it, even when appearances seem unchanged. Hold firm. What you are conscious of being will not stay hidden. It must emerge. It must become visible. Because you are not reacting to life, life is reacting to you. Many people live backwards. They wait for things to change before they change. They wait to feel loved until someone loves them. They wait to feel wealthy until they have the money. They wait to feel worthy until they are approved of. But that is not how this law works. The outer follows the inner. The world cannot bring to you what you are not willing to first feel within. This is why the secret is not in doing more but in being different. Not by force but by awareness. The more you return to your desired state, the more natural it becomes. At first it may feel like imagining, but eventually it becomes knowing. And when you know something, you don't need to prove it. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply live from it. You speak from it. You rest in it. Imagine a version of yourself who already has everything you want. What do they feel like? How do they walk, speak, breathe? That version of you is not separate. It exists in consciousness now. You can enter that state whenever you choose. And once you do, your thoughts will begin to align with that identity. Your actions will reflect that identity. Your world will shape itself around that identity. But you must be willing to let go of who you've been. The past is only alive if you keep remembering it. The limitations are only real if you keep accepting them. Every time you say, I am, you are creating. You are forming a mold. So be mindful of the identity you claim. Speak with purpose. Think with clarity. And most of all, feel with faith. This journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you already are. Beneath the layers of fear and conditioning, you are already whole, already loved, already free. You don't need to earn your desires. You simply need to accept them. because what you accept as true in the silence of your soul will manifest in the noise of the world. No one else can do this for you. Others may support you, but the inner shift must come from within. You must choose again and again to be conscious of the truth you wish to experience, and that choice, when made consistently, becomes your new reality. The delay you experience is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the space in which your new state becomes stable. The world is not ignoring you, it's responding to you. If you don't yet see what you desire, it's not because it isn't coming, it's because the old self is still being dissolved. The moment you fully identify with your new state, the evidence will follow. So begin now, not with effort, but with awareness. Notice where your attention goes. Notice what stories you repeat. And gently bring yourself back to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do it with love, not with pressure. Do it as an act of remembrance. For what you seek is already within you, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be felt, waiting to be lived. Reality is fluid. It bends to the dominant assumption. So assume wisely, assume lovingly, assume boldly. You are not at the mercy of the world. You are the consciousness through which the world is made, and the state you consistently occupy becomes the world you consistently experience. You do not have to force the outer world to change. You do not need to manipulate conditions or convince others. All you need to do is become still, enter the state, and dwell there. Everything else will follow. Because what you are conscious of being is always becoming. Everything you desire is already yours. Not in some distant future, not after years of effort, not after proving yourself worthy, but right now in this very moment. The only thing that separates you from experiencing it is your belief that it is separate from you. The moment you stop seeing your desire as something out there to be achieved and start recognizing it as something in here to be accepted, everything shifts. You do not have to chase it, force it, or even figure out how it will come. You only have to assume it is already done. This is not about waiting, it is about knowing. It is about understanding that the life you long for is already yours in consciousness. And what is accepted in consciousness must express itself in form. The world outside of you is not the cause, it is the effect. It is the mirror reflecting back your inner state. And if the mirror is not showing what you desire, you do not fight the mirror, you change what it is reflecting, you shift within. The illusion of separation is what keeps people struggling. They believe their dreams exist in some future time, and because of this, they keep pushing them further away. They keep affirming one day, and so one day never comes. But the truth is, there is no future, there is only now. Everything that ever was and ever will be is already contained in this moment. And the moment you recognize this, you understand that manifestation is not about bringing something new into being. It is about selecting from the infinite possibilities that already exist. Your assumption determines your reality. If you assume something is missing, the world will confirm that assumption. If you assume something is already yours, the world will rearrange itself to prove you right. This is not about wishful thinking or pretending. It is about standing in the certainty that what you seek is already present. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but you can feel it. And feeling it is the secret. Feeling it is the key. Feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. What you feel is real with conviction and persistence must become real in the outer world. The problem is most people allow their feelings to be dictated by external circumstances. They wait for the world to show them something before they feel it. But this is backwards. The world cannot give you what you have not first given to yourself. You must feel the reality of your wish fulfilled before it appears, not after. You must claim it inwardly before it is confirmed outwardly. This is why detachment is so powerful. Not detachment in the sense of not caring, but detachment from the need to see results immediately. When you know something is yours, you do not grasp for it. You do not beg or plead. You rest in the certainty that it is done. You move through life with the quiet confidence of one who already has what they desire. And because you do not question it, because you do not waver, the world responds accordingly. Think of something you already have, something that is undeniably yours. Do you stress over whether it will disappear? Do you constantly check to see if it's still there? No. You accept it as fact. This is the same attitude you must bring to your desires. Not hope, not wishing, not trying, but knowing. Knowing so deeply that no external circumstance can shake you. The moment you stop needing something, you allow it to come. As long as you feel you must have it to be complete, you are affirming its absence. And as long as you affirm its absence, it cannot appear. The paradox is that once you no longer feel the desperate need for it, you make space for it to arrive. This is why those who dwell in the state of fulfillment rather than the state of longing are the ones who see their desires manifest effortlessly. This does not mean you suppress your desires. It means you shift your relationship with them. Instead of seeing them as something outside of you, see them as something that is already yours. Instead of focusing on how or when they will come, focus on the feeling of already having them. Instead of waiting for life to change, change within yourself and life will follow. You do not need to manipulate circumstances. You do not need to convince others. You do not need to force anything. You only need to persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. Each time doubt creeps in, return to the feeling. Each time the world contradicts your inner knowing, remind yourself that the outer world is simply an old reflection. It will catch up. It has no choice. This is not about controlling reality. It is about understanding that reality is fluid, that it is shaped by your state of being. What you consistently assume you will experience. What you persist in feeling you will bring into form. The only question is, are you assuming what you want, or are you assuming its absence? Are you dwelling in the feeling of already having, or are you dwelling in the feeling of lack? Your state of being is the cause, the world is only the effect. Stop looking to the world for validation. Stop measuring your progress by what you can see. The unseen is just as real as the seen. In fact, it is more real because the seen is always changing. But your consciousness is the constant. Your consciousness is what gives rise to everything you experience. So dwell in the consciousness of your fulfilled wish and let the world take care of itself. The only discipline required is the discipline of staying in the state. Not forcing, not struggling, just remaining in the quiet certainty that all is unfolding perfectly. Each time you drift into old patterns, gently bring yourself back. Each time fear arises, remind yourself of who you are. Each time you feel tempted to check for signs, remember that the real evidence is within. Everything is already done. Your work is not to make it happen. It is to accept that it already has. Your only task is to align with the version of you who already has it, to think, feel, and live from that state. And as you do, the world will reflect it back to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Relax. Let go of the need to control. Drop the sense of striving. Everything will come not because you force it, but because it is already yours. All you must do is receive it. You do not need to chase what is already yours in imagination. All that you desire, all that you long for, is already created in the unseen. It exists not in the distant future, not in some far-off realm, but within your consciousness. What you claim within must by law express itself without. The world is only a reflection of the state you occupy. So relax. Do not strain, do not beg, do not force. You are not here to make things happen. You are here to assume the feeling that they already have. There is a sacred timing, a divine rhythm to all manifestation. Just as no seed can bloom before its season, no desire can materialize before you are in harmony with its reality. When you dwell in the state of already having it, when you feel from the wish fulfilled, then time becomes your servant, not your master. You are not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you to believe, to feel, to accept. So rest in the knowing. Rest in the deep inner conviction that what is yours cannot be taken, cannot be missed, and cannot be delayed when you live from its end. Stop questioning when. Stop doubting how. The moment you enter the state of possession, the moment you wear it like a garment and feel its texture with your inner senses, you have already received. Let the outer world do what it will. Appearances may shout the opposite. Conditions may rise against you. But you are not moved by the evidence of the senses. You are moved only by the inner scene. Your imagination, your assumption, is the creative force. What you see on the screen of life is merely a delayed reflection of what you have accepted within. Therefore, relax, cease striving. There is no effort in claiming what is already yours, no resistance in the state of fulfillment. Simply dwell in the feeling of the answered prayer. Be still and know that the moment you believe it is done, it is done. In life, we often look outside ourselves for fulfillment, searching for the right circumstances, people, or opportunities that will bring us the success, happiness, or peace we long for. But what if everything we desire already exists within us, in the unseen world of imagination? What if all we need to do is recognize and claim what has already been created? This is the essential truth that many of the great teachings point to, the idea that manifestation begins within, in the deepest corners of your mind and consciousness. Your mind is the creative force of your life. It is from your inner world that the outer world takes shape. Every experience, every event, every circumstance that comes to you is a reflection of what you hold within. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs form the lens through which you perceive and interact with the world. But more than just a passive mirror, your inner world is an active, creative field where the seeds of all your desires are planted and nurtured until they emerge into reality. If you can truly grasp this concept, you will understand that nothing external has the power to give you what you seek. It is not something to be chased or waited for in the future. It already exists within your consciousness. The moment you realize that everything you want is already created in the unseen, a shift happens within you. It is as if a door opens to a new way of understanding life, a new way of approaching your desires. Instead of focusing on the lack or absence of what you want, you shift your attention to the fact that it is already there, in the realm of imagination. This idea is not about wishful thinking or fantasizing about unattainable dreams. It is about recognizing the inherent power you hold to create your reality by consciously aligning with the end result of your desire. Take a moment to reflect on the power of imagination. Every creation in the world, from the simplest tool to the most complex invention, started as a thought, an image in the mind. Before anything can be made manifest, it must first exist as an idea, a feeling, a mental image. Think about the things you've experienced in your life, whether it was an achievement, a relationship, or an opportunity. Before they came into physical existence, they existed first as a thought, a vision, or a feeling you had in your mind. It was your ability to hold that image in your consciousness that brought it into being. You created it from within. In the same way, everything you desire already exists as a potential in the vast expanse of your imagination. The difference is that most often you are not consciously aware of your creative power. You may think of your desires as something out there, something you must struggle to attain, or something that lies in the future, just beyond your grasp. But the truth is that it's already here. It is within you, waiting to be recognized, acknowledged, and claimed. This is where many people go wrong. They think they need to find their desires as if they are separate from themselves. But the reality is that your desires are not external things to be discovered or earned. They are reflections of what you already hold within you. When you feel a longing for something, that feeling is the first indication that it is already in existence, already waiting for you to acknowledge it. The more you can shift your awareness to the fact that the desire has already been created, the more you allow it to manifest in your physical world. To understand this, imagine you are planting a seed. You don't doubt that the seed contains within it the potential to grow into a plant or tree. You don't worry about how the seed will grow or when it will grow. You trust in the natural process, knowing that once you plant the seed, the growth process will unfold in its own time. The same is true with your desires. Once you plant the seed of your desire in your consciousness, You don't need to worry about how it will manifest or when. The process of manifestation will unfold naturally as long as you stay aligned with the inner image of your desire. The critical part of this process is in how you perceive your desire. If you see it as something outside yourself, something you need to get or achieve, you are keeping it separate from you. You are creating a gap between where you are now and where you think you need to be. But when you recognize that your desire is already within you, that it has already been created in the unseen, you bring it into your present experience. You no longer need to wait for it to appear or chase it down. You simply need to align with the feeling that you already have it. This alignment is what brings the desired outcome into your physical experience. It is not about forcing things to happen, nor is it about waiting for circumstances to change. It is about consciously choosing to live in the state of having already received. When you do this, your outer reality will naturally conform to the inner image you hold. You don't need to strive or struggle. You need only to assume the feeling of already being what to be, having what to be, having what you want to have, and doing what you want to do. The power of imagination is so profound that it can shape your world in ways you may not even fully understand yet. Your inner world is not just a passive reflection of your external circumstances, it is the very source of those circumstances. What you think about and focus on shapes what appears in your life. The more you can tune into your inner world and realize that everything you desire has already been created there, the less you will be distracted by the external circumstances that seem to contradict your desires. You will be able to remain grounded in the knowing that what you seek is already on its way to you, for it exists first in your mind and heart. When you align with the truth that everything you desire already exists in the unseen, you will begin to live differently. You will stop looking for approval or validation from external sources. You will stop feeling like you are missing something, because you will know that the only thing that matters is what you hold within your consciousness. And when you truly realize this, you will experience the power of creation that resides in you. You will no longer chase after things, you will attract them to you by simply aligning with the feeling that they are already yours. Your mind is the creative field where all things begin. Everything you desire is already created in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. When you realize this and shift your awareness to the fact that what you want is already within you, the external world will mirror that truth. There is no need to chase, to wait, or to force. Simply align yourself with the feeling of already having what you desire, and the universe will respond in kind. In the journey of life, one of the most important lessons to learn is the understanding that everything unfolds according to a divine rhythm, a perfect timing that is beyond our conscious comprehension. Often we find ourselves impatient, anxious, or frustrated, wondering why our desires haven't manifested yet, or why things aren't moving as quickly as we'd like. But the truth is, there is a sacred timing to everything, and the things we seek are brought to us when we are truly ready for them, when the conditions are right, not a moment before, nor a moment after. This understanding, when fully embraced, brings a deep sense of peace and trust in the process of life, allowing us to relax and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. At its core, divine timing is the realization that life has a rhythm and flow, and that we are not the masters of this rhythm, but rather participants in it. Just as nature operates in perfect cycles, spring follows winter, day follows night, the tides rise and fall, so too does our life unfold according to an unseen yet perfect order. There is no need to rush or force things to happen. In fact, when we try to control the timing of our desires, we only create resistance and delay. It is only when we let go of the need to manipulate time and instead allow ourselves to be in harmony with it that we truly align with the flow of life. Think for a moment about the seasons. No one ever worries about whether spring will come or when the leaves will turn color in the fall. Nature has its own timing, and we trust that everything will unfold as it should. There is no need to rush the seasons or try to make them happen faster. They will arrive when the time is right. This is the same principle that applies to your desires and dreams. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not need to stand over it, forcing it to grow. You simply plant it, nourish it, and wait for it to sprout in its own time. In the same way, once you set an intention or desire, you must have faith that it will emerge at the right time, and that there is nothing more for you to do but to be patient and trust the process. Divine timing is also a reminder that everything happens for a reason, and that each experience, whether positive or negative, is a necessary part of your growth. You may not always understand why certain things happen when they do, or why your desires haven't yet manifested. But if you trust in divine timing, you will come to see that everything is happening as it should. There is a greater plan at work, one that is guiding you to exactly where you need to be at exactly the right time. It may not always match your expectations, but it will always be what you need in the moment. Often we think of time as linear, a straight line from past to present to future, and we become focused on when something will happen, as if it's a race to get to the next moment. But the truth is, time is not as fixed and rigid as it may seem. It is fluid and flexible, influenced by our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. When you align with divine timing, you stop fighting against time and stop trying to force your desires into a specific time frame. Instead, you allow yourself to be present in the moment, trusting that the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances will show up at the perfect time. One of the reasons divine timing is so important is because it ensures that you are fully prepared for what is coming into your life. Often, we desire things before we are truly ready to receive them. We may long for success, love, wealth, or happiness, but the truth is, we must first become the person who is ready to receive these blessings. Sometimes, the waiting period is simply a time of growth and preparation, allowing us to develop the strength, wisdom, and resilience necessary to fully embrace what is coming. If we were given everything we wanted right away, without the necessary preparation, we might not be able to handle it or appreciate it in the way we would like. This understanding of divine timing also frees us from the pressure and stress of trying to make things happen on our own. When we let go of the idea that we are responsible for forcing our desires into reality, we create space for the universe to work its magic. We can stop worrying about the how and when, and instead focus on staying aligned with our desires and trusting that they will come to us at the right time. This doesn't mean we sit idly by and do nothing, but it means we act in faith, knowing that every step we take is part of the unfolding process, and that things will align when the timing is right. There is a deep sense of peace that comes with embracing divine timing. When you trust that everything will come to you when it is meant to, you release the pressure of constantly trying to make things happen. You stop looking at the clock and start living in the flow of life. You stop worrying about the future because you know that everything you need will come to you exactly when you are ready for it. This sense of trust and faith allows you to live more fully in the present, to enjoy each moment without the anxiety of what's next. When you are in harmony with divine timing, you are no longer rushing toward the future or dwelling on the past. You are fully present, fully alive, and fully trusting in the process. Moreover, divine timing is not something that can be forced or rushed. We cannot control it, nor should we try to. It operates on a deeper level, beyond our conscious mind. Trying to make things happen before the right time only creates frustration and resistance. Just like a flower does not bloom prematurely, neither will your desires materialize before you are ready. The beauty of divine timing is that it is always perfectly attuned to who you are, where you are, and what you need. It is not about waiting passively for things to happen, but about being open, receptive, and trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. By releasing the need to control time and outcomes, we open ourselves up to receive the blessings and opportunities that are coming our way. When we stop focusing on the when and the how, we allow ourselves to flow with life's natural rhythm, trusting that everything will come to us when we are ready, and that we will be in the perfect place at the perfect time to receive it. Living from the end means adopting the mindset and emotional state of already having what you desire, regardless of external circumstances. It's the profound understanding that what you seek is already yours, existing in the unseen, and that all you need to do is align with it internally. When you live from the end, you stop waiting for things to change externally to feel fulfilled or successful. Instead, you embrace the feeling of fulfillment now, knowing that it is only a matter of time before the outer world reflects this inner state. When you begin to accept that your desires are already within you, you shift your perspective from one of lack and need to one of abundance and fulfillment. The belief that you must search for something outside yourself to feel whole or complete is one of the most common misconceptions that keeps people stuck. This mindset makes it seem as though your happiness or success is always somewhere in the future or outside of you, something to be earned or achieved through hard work and external circumstances. But in reality, the essence of everything you want is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. The moment you realize this, you open yourself up to a deeper connection with your true power. The most important thing to understand here is that your desires, dreams, and goals are not random. They are not arbitrary or unattainable. They are reflections of who you truly are, of your deepest potential. Every desire you have is an expression of a part of you that is already in existence, waiting to be brought into full expression. When you desire something, it is because it is already a part of you. It may not be fully manifested in your physical reality yet, but it exists in your consciousness, and as such, it is just as real as anything else you perceive with your senses. You are not trying to acquire something that is separate from you. You are simply reconnecting with a part of yourself that is already whole, complete, and ready to be expressed in your life. When you recognize that your desires are already within you, you no longer feel the need to search outside yourself for validation or fulfillment. This realization frees you from the burden of waiting for things to happen or for others to give you what you want. You stop depending on external circumstances, people, or events to define your sense of worth, and instead begin to understand that your worth and everything you desire are rooted in your own consciousness. This shift in perception is liberating because it allows you to take full responsibility for your life and the experiences you create. You realize that you are not at the mercy of the outside world, but are the creator of your own reality. Once you understand that everything you desire is already within you, the next step is to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that truth. This alignment requires a conscious decision to trust in the process of manifestation, and to have faith in the fact that everything you need is already inside of you, just waiting to be recognized. To begin living from this place of inner knowing, you must let go of any doubts or fears that suggest you are lacking in any way. Any belief in scarcity or insufficiency only serves to create resistance, keeping you from fully embracing the abundant reality that is already yours. Part of this process involves shifting your focus from the outside world to your inner world. Instead of constantly looking for answers in the external environment, you begin to trust your intuition and inner guidance. Your intuition is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that knows the truth about who you are and what is possible for you. When you trust your inner wisdom, you open yourself to the flow of abundance and creativity that already exists within you. The more you listen to your inner guidance, the more you will be able to access the resources, inspiration, and solutions that are already available to you. This inner knowing also empowers you to take inspired action. You are no longer acting from a place of desperation or need, but from a place of confidence and self-assurance. When you know that everything you desire is already within you, you are no longer afraid to take the necessary steps to bring it into your physical reality. You move forward with clarity and purpose, trusting that the actions you take will align you with the manifestation of your desires. You understand that your thoughts and feelings shape the reality you experience. And by focusing on the positive emotions associated with your desires, you begin to draw them to you effortlessly. The realization that everything you want is already within you also allows you to release attachment to specific outcomes. Too often, people become fixated on how their desires will manifest or on the specific form in which they will appear. They become overly focused on the how and when of the manifestation process. which only creates resistance and delays. But when you accept that everything you need is already a part of you, you stop worrying about the details of the manifestation. You simply focus on the feeling of having what you desire and trust that the universe will bring it to you in the most perfect and harmonious way. Living with the understanding that everything you desire is already within you also means recognizing your inherent power. You are not a passive observer in your life, but an active participant in the creation of your reality. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions have the power to shape your experiences. And when you consciously align them with your desires, you create the conditions for those desires to materialize. The power to manifest is not external to you. It is already a part of who you are. It is embedded within your consciousness, your imagination, and your emotions. By tapping into this inner power, you unlock the potential to create anything you want in your life. This idea also invites you to release the need for external validation. Many people seek approval from others or rely on external achievements to feel good about themselves. But when you realize that everything you need is already within you, you no longer look to others for validation. You begin to understand that your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion or by external accomplishments. Your worth is inherent, and it is not based on what you do or what you have, but on who you are. This realization is profoundly liberating, as it allows you to embrace yourself fully without the need for external approval or recognition. As you continue to live with the understanding that everything you desire is already within you, you begin to experience a deep sense of peace and contentment. You stop striving, chasing, or struggling to get what you want. Instead, you relax into the knowing that it is already yours. This shift in consciousness allows you to live in harmony with the natural flow of life, trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly. You stop measuring your success or happiness by external achievements and start living from a place of inner fulfillment and peace. In embracing the truth that everything you desire is already within you, you align yourself with the limitless potential that exists within your consciousness. This awareness empowers you to create the life you desire, not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance and self-assurance. You begin to see that everything you seek is already a part of you, waiting to be recognized. And as you do, the world around you begins to reflect that truth. The process of allowing life to unfold at its own pace, without the need for constant pushing, striving, or forcing, is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. It is an act of surrender. Surrendering to the flow of life, to the universe, to the divine timing of your desires. This is where true peace is found, not in constant effort or struggle, but in the quiet knowing that everything will come to you when the time is right. When you embrace this understanding, you stop fighting against the natural flow of events and instead allow yourself to be carried along by it. One of the fundamental aspects of allowing is letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life. Often people feel as though they must take action immediately to make their dreams come true, or they worry that if they don't act quickly, they will miss out on something important. However, this frantic energy only creates resistance and delays the manifestation of your desires. The truth is, when you try to control everything, you are actually pushing away the very things you want to bring into your life. Instead of forcing things to happen, you begin to trust in the process, knowing that everything is happening at the perfect time. Surrendering to the flow of life requires a deep sense of trust. You must trust that the universe has a plan for you, that everything is unfolding in alignment with your highest good, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Trusting that things will come to you at the right time means letting go of the need to force outcomes and embracing the idea that all is well, regardless of external circumstances. It's about knowing that what is meant for you will never pass you by, and what you truly desire will find its way to you in divine time. The difficulty for many people lies in the fear of missing out, or the fear of not getting what they want. This fear creates a sense of urgency, which often leads to hasty decisions or actions. But fear and urgency are the opposites of trust and patience. When you allow life to unfold naturally, you are no longer driven by fear, but by faith and inner knowing. You understand that there is no need to rush and that everything will manifest at the right moment. This deep sense of trust frees you from the constant pressure to make things happen, allowing you to relax and enjoy the journey. In the process of allowing, you stop trying to control the how and when of your desires. The how is often the biggest obstacle people face when manifesting their dreams. They focus so much on the logistics, on figuring out exactly how things will unfold, that they lose sight of the bigger picture. But the how is not your job. It's the job of the universe. When you focus on the end result, on the feeling of already having what you desire, you align with the energy that will bring it into your life. The details, the timing, and the logistics are taken care of by the universe. Your role is simply to remain in alignment with your desire and trust that it is already on its way. Allowing life to unfold also means embracing patience. In a world that often encourages instant gratification, it can be difficult to embrace the idea that things will come to you in their own time. But patience is not about passively waiting for things to happen. It is about trusting the process and remaining calm in the face of uncertainty. Patience is the ability to stay grounded in the present moment, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be and that your desires will manifest when the timing is right. When you live from a place of allowing, you stop measuring your progress against a timeline or external markers. You let go of the need to know exactly when something will happen or how it will look. Instead, you focus on the joy of the present moment, knowing that the future is already unfolding in your favor. This shift in focus allows you to enjoy the journey rather than constantly looking for the destination. You find satisfaction in the process of growth and in the small moments of life rather than waiting for a specific event to happen to feel fulfilled. Another important aspect of allowing is releasing attachment to the outcome. When you become too attached to a particular outcome, you create a sense of desperation or need which pushes your desires away. Attachment comes from a place of fear and lack, and it creates resistance to the natural flow of life. But when you release attachment, you trust that what is meant for you will come to you, regardless of the specific form or timing. You no longer need things to go a certain way because you understand that life has something even better in store for you. Releasing attachment means surrendering your expectations and trusting that whatever happens is for your highest good. By allowing life to unfold at its own pace, you align with the rhythm of the universe. You stop swimming against the current and start flowing with it. The universe operates in perfect timing, and when you align with that timing, everything you desire will come to you naturally. This alignment brings a sense of peace and ease into your life, as you are no longer struggling to make things happen. You trust that everything is working in your favor and that your desires will manifest at the perfect moment. This trust is rooted in the understanding that the universe is always working on your behalf. Even when things don't seem to be going your way, you know that everything is happening for a reason. The universe is constantly guiding you toward your highest potential. And every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, is part of the process of bringing you closer to your goals. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, and you trust that every obstacle is preparing you for the next step in your journey. The act of allowing is a practice of patience, trust, and surrender. It is a conscious decision to let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. When you allow life to unfold at the right time, you release the pressure of trying to make things happen and instead align with the natural flow of the universe. This brings a sense of ease, peace, and joy into your life, as you trust that everything is happening exactly as it should. You stop waiting for the future to bring you happiness, and you begin to find contentment in the present moment, knowing that all your desires are already on their way. Everything in your life responds to the assumption you hold about yourself. The world, with all its seeming solidity and separateness, is but a mirror, faithfully reflecting the image you cast within your own imagination. When you dare to act as if you already possess that which you desire, you step into the law that governs all creation. Consciousness creates reality. It is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. You are not meant to wait for external proof before you believe. That is the way of the world, but you are not bound by that law. You belong to a higher order of being, where the invisible precedes the visible. When you walk with the inner knowing that everything is already yours, the world has no choice but to shape itself around your state of being. You do not beg, you do not wish, you assume. Quietly, confidently, you move as one who already owns it all. To act as if you own everything is not to dominate others, but to master yourself. It is to sit calmly in the awareness that all power lies within you. There is nothing outside of you to gain, only within to awaken. And when you awaken to the truth that your imagination is the source, you stop chasing and start allowing. You begin to live in the end, thinking from the place where the desire is already fulfilled. Feel what it is like to possess that which you long for, not as something distant, but as something here, now, in this moment. Dwell in that feeling. Let it soak into every corner of your mind. Speak from that place, walk from that place, breathe from that place. You are not pretending, you are proclaiming. You are not faking, you are faithfully assuming your rightful place as the operant power. The world cannot resist a man or woman who knows who they are. It bows to those who move not by sight, but by inner certainty. To act as if you own everything is to say to life, I know who I am, and I accept that everything already belongs to me in consciousness. The outer world is merely catching up to the inner command. So step boldly, speak freely, love deeply, and expect fully. All things are already yours. Everything you experience in this life is a reflection of your inner state. There is nothing outside of you that holds more power than what you assume and accept within. The great secret that many overlook is this: your consciousness is the only reality. The moment you understand that, you begin to live life on a different level. You stop reacting to the world and start creating from within it. Most people believe that circumstances are fixed, that life happens to them based on luck, chance, or the actions of others. But if you trace every experience back to its root, you will find it began in thought, a belief, a feeling, an assumption. These invisible seeds planted in consciousness eventually manifest as the tangible events and people in your life. The outer world is a mirror. It has no life of its own. It only reflects what is alive in you. When you assume something to be true, whether it's about your health, your relationships, your finances, or your identity, that assumption sets the course of your life. It might not manifest instantly, but it begins to move everything around you to match the vibration you've chosen. You cannot hold a dominant belief in lack and expect abundance. You cannot feel unworthy and continuously attract love. You cannot see yourself as powerless and manifest strength. The universe only echoes back what you are. This is not just a philosophy, it is a law. The law of consciousness states that whatever you accept as true within your imagination becomes your experience. You are not the victim of the world, but its author. Every condition, no matter how small or great, began in thought. The moment you begin to change the way you see yourself in your imagination, the world responds. You don't change your life by force. You don't manipulate events, chase people, or struggle to make things happen. You go within and assume the state of the wish fulfilled. You feel the reality of the thing desired as though it is already yours. This is not daydreaming, this is not hoping, it is knowing. It is stepping into the role inwardly and living from that position long before the world reflects it. It is claiming your authority in the unseen. Think about it. Every time you've worried, feared, or doubted, did life seem to match your expectation? Did more fear, more delay, more resistance appear? Not because the world is against you, but because you unknowingly consented to that state. But what if you deliberately assume the best? What if you consistently lived with the knowing that everything is working out for you? That you are supported, loved, abundant, and safe? Your entire world would shift, not through effort, but through inner acceptance. The outer world cannot remain the same when your inner world has changed. That's why sometimes people suddenly fall out of your life, opportunities appear, money flows, health improves, and ideas come from nowhere. It's not magic. It's the natural response of reality to the shift in your consciousness. You moved, and everything else had to follow. Consciousness doesn't argue, it doesn't judge. It accepts what you offer it. So when you speak words like, I never have enough, or no one really cares, or I always struggle, consciousness takes it as a command. It begins to create in accordance with that belief. And when you say, I am loved, I am wealthy, I am powerful, even if the evidence is not yet visible, consciousness begins rearranging the world to reflect it. This is why it's so important to discipline your inner conversations. What you say to yourself about yourself matters more than anything anyone else says about you. You could be surrounded by doubters, critics, and people who underestimate you, but if you hold firm to your inner assumption of success, love, and greatness, the world will be forced to conform. It may not be instant, but it is inevitable. When you understand that consciousness creates reality, you stop blaming others. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You stop feeling stuck. You realize that the only thing that ever needed to change was you, not in the way the world might suggest, not by becoming someone different, but by becoming aware of who you already are. You are not separate from your desires. You are the source of them, and what you can conceive and feel to be true in consciousness is already yours. So what do you choose to believe today? Will you continue to identify with limitation, fear, and unworthiness? Or will you choose a new story, a new identity, a new vibration? The power is always in your hands, because the power is always in your consciousness. Nothing comes into your life except through that channel. Nothing remains unless it is supported by your inner state. To live in alignment with this truth is to walk with calm confidence. You no longer need to beg, chase, or prove anything. You know that as you shift inwardly, everything will unfold in divine order. The right people, the right moments, the right experiences, they are drawn to the version of you that already holds them within. The world cannot withhold what you have already accepted in consciousness. And so, from this day forward, remind yourself gently and often, your imagination is the first cause. The thoughts you persist in become the life you live. The feeling you nurture becomes the environment you wake up to, and the identity you embrace within becomes the destiny you meet without. It has always been this way. You were never at the mercy of the world, you were always creating it. To act from fulfillment is to place yourself mentally and emotionally in the state of already having what you desire. It's not about pretending or tricking the world, it's about shifting your inner awareness to the version of yourself where the thing you want is already part of your life. When you live from this state, your actions, thoughts, and feelings begin to flow naturally from a place of inner certainty rather than desperate effort. You no longer try to achieve, you express what already is. Most people live their lives reacting to the world, waiting for conditions to improve before they allow themselves to feel secure, happy, or loved. But this is backwards. The world reflects your inner state. If you wait to see change before you feel it, you will always be waiting. You must dare to feel it first. You must dare to believe that it is done, even when the physical evidence is missing. This is not delusion, this is faith in the unseen, the power that animates all creation. You do not become wealthy by constantly reminding yourself of your lack. You do not find love by focusing on loneliness. You do not succeed by dwelling in failure. You become these things by embodying them inwardly. When you act from fulfillment, your imagination becomes your reality. You stop trying to get and start being. And being is where all transformation begins. Imagine a person who desires to be confident. If they wait until others approve of them or until the fear disappears, they will remain timid. But if that same person begins to act as though they already are confident, speaking with clarity, holding themselves with grace, trusting their intuition, everything in their world will begin to shift. Why? Because they are no longer asking life for confidence. they are living from it. The same applies to any state: abundance, joy, success, peace. To live from the end is to occupy the state of your wish fulfilled so completely that your present reality is no longer your reference point. You stop checking the world to see if it's working. You stop needing signs or confirmations. You live in a quiet knowing that your assumption, held with feeling, will harden into fact. It must. The law cannot be broken. As within, so without. This approach doesn't mean you sit still and do nothing. It means that whatever you do is guided by the version of you that already knows it's done. You may still take action, but it is no longer forced. It is inspired. You no longer act to achieve something, but because you are already being the person who has achieved it. Every movement flows from that fulfilled state. You're not trying to become, you're allowing what already is to unfold. The beautiful paradox is that when you stop striving and start assuming, things begin to move, people show up, opportunities open, circumstances arrange themselves. It's as if the entire universe responds to the shift in your being. And it does, because life is not happening to you, it's happening through you. The world is responding to your inner command, your inner stance. If you say, I am, and follow it with certainty, everything must conform. And yet this way of living requires trust. Trust not in something outside of you, but in your ability to choose a new state, to hold a vision without seeing immediate evidence, to feel the joy of the outcome before it arrives. This is the great test. Can you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled when nothing around you has changed? Can you remain loyal to your unseen reality? Most give up too quickly. They fall back into doubt, fear, and questioning. They return to the old state and then wonder why nothing changes. But the outer world is always a delayed mirror. What you see now is simply the echo of what you previously assumed. And what you assume now will show up in time if you remain faithful to it. Faithfulness is not rigid effort. It's a gentle, repeated returning to the feeling of already having it. Throughout your day, bring yourself back to that place. Speak, walk, and think as though it is true. Let the inner experience of fulfillment be so real that it becomes your dominant vibration. You don't force it, you allow it. You don't fake it, you feel it. And through that feeling, you impress the new state upon your subconscious mind. You must come to understand that life does not change because you desperately want it to. It changes because you become someone new inwardly, the one who is already living in the answered prayer, the one who no longer seeks, but gives thanks. Gratitude is one of the purest expressions of acting from fulfillment. It says, I already have it, and I am thankful, not because you're hoping to get something, but because in your world you already have it. This is why imagination is so powerful. It allows you to mentally construct a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled and feel it into being. A conversation, a moment, a simple snapshot that you loop in your mind with emotion and clarity. And when done consistently, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as true. And what the subconscious accepts, the world must mirror. Think of someone deeply in love. They move differently, they radiate, they attract more love, not because they're looking for it, but because they are it. Their state produces the experience, and the same is true for abundance, peace, success, or anything else. When you embody the state inwardly, it begins to show up outwardly. So stop trying to get, stop waiting for signs, stop treating your desires as something distant. They are here now within you. Claim them. Life from them. Let your inner world become more real than your outer world. And watch without resistance as everything begins to shift. Not because you fought to make it happen, but because you aligned with the reality where it already had. The way you feel about yourself is the foundation of everything you experience in life. It determines how you see the world and how the world responds to you. When you walk into a room believing you are small, unnoticed, or unworthy, your energy carries that message and others mirror it back to you. But when you embody a deep sense of inner confidence, when you walk, speak, and think from the place of knowing who you are, the world cannot help but respond in kind. The external always bows to the internal. You do not become confident by waiting for evidence. You do not wait for someone to approve of you before you decide that you are worthy. Confidence is not something handed to you, it is something you claim. It begins with an inner decision, a subtle yet powerful shift in awareness. It is the moment you say, I am enough as I am, not because the world told you so, but because you have decided to stand in that truth, regardless of circumstances. The moment you choose to believe in yourself, everything changes. Your voice carries more strength. Your posture becomes firm, your gaze is steady. You no longer seek validation because you have already validated yourself. And when you move from this place, people feel it, opportunities feel it, life feels it. You begin to experience situations that reflect your new state of being because you are no longer doubting, hiding, or apologizing for who you are. This confidence is not arrogance. It is not built on ego or comparison. It is quiet, steady, rooted in truth. It is the awareness that you are already whole, already connected to the infinite source of all that is. There is nothing missing within you. When you accept this, when you embrace it and live from it, you no longer need to fight for your place. You realize you were never meant to shrink to fit into small spaces. You were meant to expand. There is a version of you who already feels this way. A version who walks with purpose, who speaks with clarity, who acts without fear. That version of you is not separate. It is not a dream, it is already present in your imagination. And the more you dwell in that identity, the more you feel what it feels like to be that version, the more the world around you rearranges to meet it. You may say, but how can I feel confident when I've failed? When I've been rejected, when I've been told I'm not enough? You can, because none of that defines you unless you allow it to. Every past experience is simply a reflection of the state you once occupied. It has no power over the present moment unless you drag it forward and wear it like a costume. You can remove that costume, you can choose a new role, and confidence begins with that choice. It's in the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It's in the inner dialogue you carry throughout the day. Do you build yourself up or tear yourself down? Do you declare who you are with love, or do you constantly repeat the language of limitation? Your words shape your world. Speak as someone who knows they matter. Speak as someone who is already the embodiment of the outcome they desire. Confidence also grows through repetition. Every time you act in alignment with your inner power, every time you speak your truth, hold your boundary, or follow your intuition, you are training your subconscious mind to accept this new version of you. Confidence isn't a feeling that arrives suddenly. It is something you cultivate by consistently being who you really are, without fear or apology. Don't wait for the world to notice you before you. Don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. The world is simply a stage, and the roles we play are based on the identities we assume. If you assume the role of someone who is uncertain, you will receive scripts that reflect uncertainty. But if you assume the role of someone who is deeply rooted in self-belief, your entire performance changes. The scenery, the interactions, the plot, it all shifts to match your new identity. To truly walk in confidence, you must let go of needing to convince anyone. You do not need to persuade the world of your worth. You simply need to be it. When you act as though you already are what you wish to be, your actions carry an invisible power. People may not be able to name it, but they feel it. It's magnetic, it's undeniable, it's not forced, it's remembered. It's as if your soul is saying, this is who I've always been. This inner strength does not depend on appearances, achievements, or possessions. It comes from the invisible place within, where you know that your life has meaning and your presence is valuable. When you live from that place, the outer world will eventually mirror it. But even before it does, you are at peace. Because your confidence is not a reaction, it is a state of being. It is possible to walk into any room, face any challenge, speak in any situation, and move with clarity. Not because you have something to prove, but because you have nothing to hide. You are simply expressing the truth of who you are. The real you. The infinite you is never afraid, never lacking, never small. That version of you is already whole, already radiant, already free. And when you begin to identify with that version, when you make it your dwelling place, nothing in the external world can shake you. This is the essence of true confidence. It is not performance, it is presence. It is not loud, it is steady. It does not demand attention, it attracts it effortlessly. You were not born to doubt yourself, you were born to remember yourself, to return to the place within where you are already enough, already seen, already chosen. And when you begin to live from that remembrance, when you let go of who the world told you to be and step into the power of who you truly are, life opens. Doors unlock, people respect you, challenges feel different, opportunities arise, not because you chased them, but because you align with the version of you that naturally attracts them. You are the one who decides who you are. Not your past, not other people, not your fears. And the moment you decide, really decide, the moment you begin to feel yourself as already confident, already whole, already powerful, your world cannot remain the same. It must reflect the change you've made in consciousness. Because life has no choice but to echo back what you persistently feel yourself to be. You are always creating from the inside out. The outer world is a shadow of your inner state, a mirror reflecting the thoughts and assumptions you hold to be true. If you look around and see lack, limitation, and struggle, it is not because the world is inherently lacking. It is because your inner attention, perhaps unconsciously, has been tuned to those channels. When you shift your inner gaze, when you assume the reality of what you desire as if it were already yours, the mirror must shift accordingly. This is not imagination as fantasy. It is imagination as truth. It is the awareness that what you dwell upon internally must externalize itself in some form. The world cannot help but conform to the assumptions you persist in holding. That is the law. Every effect you see was first a cause within you. When you begin to consciously choose the inner image, the feeling, the assumption that aligns with the life you desire, you step into the role of creator. You stop reacting and start initiating. You stop asking for proof and start being the proof. The universe listens not to your words but to the dominant emotional state you carry. And so you must embody the version of you who already possesses the thing you want, not just occasionally but consistently. That is how you bend reality. You are never waiting for the world to catch up. The world is always waiting for you to shift. What you see as solid and fixed is only the result of a persistent idea held within consciousness. Change the idea and the world must follow. But you must hold the new idea long enough for it to take root. You must believe in it more than you believe in the evidence of your senses. That is the real work. To remain loyal to the unseen, to live from the invisible, to act as though it is already done, even when your outer experience tells you otherwise. This is not about pretending. It is about identifying. There is a version of you that already lives the life you desire. That version is not far away. It is not in the future. It exists now in consciousness. Your job is to align with it, to think from it, not of it, to see the world through the eyes of that version of yourself. What does that version believe? How does that version walk, speak, act? What choices would they make today? When you begin to embody that version of yourself in your inner world, the outer world begins to move. You cannot fake the feeling. The law responds to your dominant state, not your occasional hopes. If you spend 5 minutes a day imagining abundance, but the rest of the day worrying about lack, you are planting conflicting seeds. The soil of life will grow what is most consistently nurtured. So plant with intention. Nurture the feeling of having. Dwell in the experience of already being. Let your inner world become so rich, so vivid, so alive, that the outer world cannot help but bow to it. The reality is malleable. It is not fixed. It bends to your assumption. But assumption is not passive. It is not wishful thinking. It is claiming, inhabiting, becoming. When you assume a thing to be true, You feel from it. You carry it with you like breath. You do not check every moment to see if it has arrived. You know it. You walk in it, you relax into it, and that knowing becomes magnetic. It draws the corresponding experience to you, not because you chased it, but because you match. This is why detachment is not about indifference, it is about confidence. When you are truly in the state of already having, you are not desperate for signs, you are not anxious about timing, you are calm, present, and assured. You understand that life is always catching up to the blueprint you hold within, and so you do not rush the process. You simply remain in the state of already being, already receiving, already living the outcome. Let the world say what it wants, let circumstances look how they look. Your only job is to persist in the state that matches the life you desire. Let others react, you remain still. Let the noise of the outer world rise and fall. You stay anchored in your inner conviction, because you know the truth. Your reality is responding to you, not the other way around. You do not need permission to imagine. You do not need evidence to feel. You do not need a sign to begin acting as if it were already true. Everything starts within you. Every breakthrough, every miracle, every shift. It begins with an internal movement, a quiet but powerful assumption that says, this is already mine. And the moment you make that internal move, everything around you begins to align. Even now, you are planting seeds. With every thought, every reaction, every belief, you are shaping your tomorrow. So be deliberate, be conscious, be intentional. Don't let the world dictate your inner state, let your inner state dictate your world. This is the secret, to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes fact. Every desire you have is valid. It was placed in your heart because it is already possible. You would not long for something unless some version of you already had it. And when you accept this, when you stop asking if it's possible and start assuming that it's done, you shift into a different vibration. The universe responds to that vibration. People show up, resources appear, paths open. Not because you forced it, but because you tuned into the version of reality where it was already yours. Your imagination is the preview of what is to come, not because it shows you something far off in the distance, but because it shows you what already exists in the unseen. Dwell there, return to it often, live in it, speak from it, walk in it. Let your days be filled with the quiet confidence of one who knows who they are and what they possess. Not because the world said so, but because you have claimed it within. You are not creating from scratch. You are selecting, choosing, occupying. You are moving through states of consciousness, and the world is reflecting back the one you are most identified with. So identify with the version of you that is free, powerful, successful, loved. Assume it, feel it, let it saturate your thoughts, and you will see the outer world rearrange itself, not by chance, but by law. Because consciousness is the only reality, and you are its master. The outer world will always reflect back the version of you that you consistently embody. You are not meeting life as a passive participant. You are encountering yourself in every experience. Everything that happens to you is an echo of who you are being. The moment you truly understand this, you stop blaming circumstances, people, or timing. You realize that nothing is outside your power because nothing can show up that doesn't correspond to the assumptions you live by. The world is not testing you, it is mirroring you. This is why acting as if is so powerful. When you act as if you own everything, as if you already are the version of you that has it all, you activate a new pattern of energy within yourself. That energy draws matching experiences like iron filings to a magnet, not because the world is responding to your performance, but because it's responding to your vibration. When you show up internally as someone who is whole, abundant, confident, and chosen, the world must reflect situations, people, and outcomes that confirm that identity. But if you act from lack, even while trying to manifest abundance, you are still vibrating with the consciousness of the old self. You cannot fake this to the universe. You must genuinely shift into a new state of being. That shift doesn't require external permission. You don't wait for a promotion to feel powerful. You don't wait for a relationship to feel loved. You don't wait for $1 million to feel wealthy. You start feeling now. You start walking into every room as if the room belongs to you. Not from arrogance, but from spiritual certainty. You own the space with grace because you know that consciousness creates reality. It is not about manipulating people or pretending to be something you are not. It is about accepting that you are already the thing you seek. There is no separation between desire and fulfillment except your own belief in time and distance. If you could drop that belief and embody the energy of the version of you who has it all, you would collapse time. You would bring the future into the now, not as a wish but as a fact. You are not becoming, you are revealing. The truth has always been within you. The world is simply waiting for you to claim it. The minute you stop seeking and start embodying, everything changes. You don't need to force it. You don't need to hustle for worthiness. You need only dwell in the state of ownership. Walk as the version of you who knows how loved, supported, and powerful they are. Think as that person. Speak from that place. Make decisions as if nothing could be taken from you, because when you live in the state of ownership, nothing ever can. Ownership is not about control. It is about alignment. You don't have to control the details when you're aligned with the outcome. If you persist in the inner knowing that you already possess the life you want, the people, the conversations, the timing, all of it will be orchestrated on your behalf. The state you live in becomes the command to the universe, and the universe responds without fail. It is not sometimes, it is not occasionally, it is always. What you embody, you experience, even when things don't look like they're working, even when it seems like nothing is moving. If you stay true to the state, the world will rearrange. The key is not reacting to the temporary appearance of delay. Delay is only the echo of old assumptions. Don't give life to it. Keep returning to the state of the fulfilled version of yourself. Don't look for signs, be the sign. Be the evidence of your own transformation. Let people feel something different when they're around you, not because you're saying new things, but because you're radiating from a new identity. Your job is not to figure out how it will come. Your job is to embody the version of you to whom it naturally comes. When you shift your state, you shift your fate. All manifestation is self-manifestation. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So the only question worth asking is, who am I being right now? Am I being the version of me that already has the thing I say I want? Or am I still being the version of me that's waiting, wishing, hoping? The world only knows how to give you more of what you are. Not what you say, not what you beg for, but what you consistently embody. This is not about becoming obsessed or rigid. It's about sinking into the knowing that you are the source of everything you experience. That what shows up around you is your reflection, not your reality. Reality is internal. Circumstances are shadows. Don't be tricked by the illusion. The real power lies in who you are being behind the scenes, when no one is watching, when nothing seems to be moving. That's when your next world is being born. And if you fall out of the state, don't panic. Simply return. Your imagination is the gateway. Enter it again. Feel the feeling of already being, already having, and from that state, speak to the world. Make decisions from that space. Let that version of you guide the day. You'll find the more you do this, the less you're tossed around by appearances. You'll start to notice the world bending, not because you pushed harder, but because you surrendered deeper into the version of you who already owns it all. That's the paradox of ownership. It is not loud, it is calm. It is not desperate, it is sure. It doesn't chase, it magnetizes. And the more you live from that place, the more the world reflects it back to you in ways that are unmistakable. Doors open, conversations shift, money appears, relationships heal, not because you earned it, but because you became it. The mirror has no choice but to show you who you believe yourself to be. So every day remind yourself, You are not asking the world to give you anything, you are simply commanding the reflection by embodying the state. Every situation you encounter is an opportunity to remain in the knowing. Even when it challenges you, especially when it challenges you, stay in the state. Let the outer world yield to the inner one. It always will. It must. Because consciousness is the only reality, and you are always shaping it.